Hello again and welcome to another Mordian Glory Warhammer 40k video. And today, guys, we are doing something a little bit different. Simon and I are doing a post-battle report after action report, and we're doing this live from our respective command centers. So I will say live, it is pre-recorded actually. Simon looked like he was panicking there for a second. Oh my god, we've gone live.
No one wants to hear what we talk about live, I'm telling you.
Oh my days, they'll be kicking the door down before we can get the first sentence out. But we're coming from our respective command centers. I'm in the Mordian Glory battle bunker. Simon is in the conning tower of his battleship, and Admiral Simon is here with me, and we're gonna have a little chat about Blood Angels, because I think we are in a very fortunate position where we've actually played a game with the new Blood Angels, and that video is already out on the channel. So if you've not seen our battle report with the with Blood Angels, then I'll make sure there's a link down in the description below to that. And it is Steel Legion versus Blood Angel Death Company. So it's Simon representing. I'm not represented. I'm just chilling with my old hoodie on. But yeah, it's Simon's Steel Legion army. It features Double Dawn, and there's some other cool combos in there. There's Bulgars in there as well. And then you've got the Blood Angels, who just bring a copious amount of Death Company. And what we're going to talk about today is what do the new Blood Angels feel like to play against? What do the new Blood Angels feel like to play with? And how do things feel different from the Index to the Codex? Now, we'll start off. Well, I'll hand over to Simon for a minute. Simon, do you want to let us know how did it feel to play against the Blood Angels? And to give you sort of a few sort of pointers, what did you feel was the difference between the Jetpack Death Company and the regular Death Company? And did you feel like the army was particularly fast, or did you feel like you had time to deal with things? How all over you was it?
So you know what? I've been thinking about this since yesterday, since we finished. I can't work out if I was pleased I went first or second. Because it's quite a nice 1-2 punch, because obviously the Jetpack guys are in your face turn 1 or 2. And then you've got the foot sloggers coming in the turn after.
Yeah. So turn 1, you were hit by 20 Death Company, 10 of which were foot-stalking guys, but they'd scouted forward, and 10 of which were the Jetpack guys who actually moved 12 inches. So basically 2 units that have been able to move 12 inches, and you got hit by a Death Company Dreadnought turn 1, and your movement hadn't been overly aggressive turn 1, so it was on you quite fast.
To be fair.
Yeah. Unlike Cagey Grey Knight Simon, it was a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I was shit myself.
Yeah.
When I saw that coming towards me, well, you know, we had a look. We talked a little bit before we started, and obviously the stuff there are, you know, some people have been doing the maths on it, and actually you look at how hard those things can hit, and it's pretty scary. I was quite pleased to kind of get that first turn, just to push a few things up the board to get rid of one of the Jetpack squads. To be honest,
yeah,
you know, it was quite sweet. You had to commit them on the first turn, got you 10 points, took points away from me, but yeah, they would have done some real damage if they got to my tanks before I'd clean them out or they're in my backfield. That could have been a very horsey road game before.
Yeah, I have to admit, I thought there was a risk of that happening, especially when it's a new army, because we always for those people that don't know, Simon and I do sort of mention this every so often. We always try and make sure that the games are somewhat balanced, whether it's down to mission or terrain or often army lists. So we don't magic of cinema anything. If someone fails a 3-inch charge and a double 1, they CP reroll it, they get a double 1. That's it. We don't change that kind of stuff. And sometimes that can make for very fun games. Sometimes that can make for sometimes frustrating games. But one thing we try and always do at the beginning of the game is try and make sure that things are a little bit at least on the list front, the mission front, are balanced. Now, I was a little worried yesterday with the Blood Angels, because my first impressions of them when I saw the leaks, was, oh my god, these guys are going to be the new top meta army. And I still think there was a potential for that to happen. But it was nowhere near as one-sided as I thought it was going to be, which was interesting, because you say there's a lot of punch and a lot of scariness there, but that turn 1, I went in and I bounced. And that was bad. That was very bad for the Blood Angels.
Yeah, I mean that was a very strange spike. I mean, you didn't roll. I mean, I rolled out my skin there. And again, I think that's one of those weird sort of turning points that you generally expect in turn 3 or 4.
Not turn 1.
Not, but it was. It's like, okay, I was not expecting that. But again, that was, I mean, to be fair, I mean that was 36 2-up saves. You know, tanks and mechanized walkers that you were going into. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't just a single sentinel. It was quite a you know, it was quite a bit of it was quite a bit of armor there for you to quite and choose.
Right, it was surprisingly wounds dense. When we actually look back at that was 35 wounds, T8 to T10, with every single one of them having a 2-up save. Yeah. And what hit me, ironically, because I was charging you, but what hit me when we were doing that whole combat was, I'm quite proud of that pun, by the way.
Yeah, trademark that.
What hit me was, I think the biggest weakness of Blood Angels right now is AP2. Not them receiving AP2. They can handle that for days. You know, power armor in cover with access to Lamatis and an armor of contempt as well, giving you, if you only feed the enemy a couple of units a turn, you can really basically sort of mute their firepower. But the fact that my maximum AP was AP2 in combat, like Power Fist, AP2, Thunderhammer, AP2, goddamn Dreadnought Blood Fists, AP2, Eviscerator, AP2. So that really was what struck me, because I'm, as someone who's been playing Blood Angels for a long time, I'm so used to power weapons being AP3, Thunderhammers being AP3, and I'm so used to guard armor on the other side being like 3-up save, not a 2-up save. And that combination of the durability of units going up and the AP of things like that going down really screwed me up. And what it kind of, you just rolled well on 4-up saves, but this is the thing, people say 4-up saves are 50-50. They're not. 4-up saves are 50-50 big picture globally. But you will have a game where you'll have a turn where you make all your 4-ups, and then you have a turn when you make none of your 4-ups, and overall it was 50-50, but it depends on where all of those passes come and where all of those fails come. And so I feel like the big problem with Blood Angels right now is they are, the great thing about them is they're very fast. They're going to get you turn 1 if you let them, especially with advance and charge, especially with jump packs, especially with scouts. They're going to get you turn 1. And they have the potential to hit wildly hard. +2 strength, +1 attack. They're going to be throwing buckets of dice at you, and they're probably going to be wounding you on 5s at worst against your toughest units. Probably going to be wounding you on 4s with like lance and stuff like that, especially if we think about Sanguinary Guard and whatnot. But the big problem is AP2, because you could have a turn where you go in there and you do everything right, and your opponent just gets lucky on the 4-ups. And then you are left holding the bag. And that's one of the things that happened to me turn 1. And I think the way you beat Blood Angels is you slow them down.
Yeah.
The longer you can tie them up, the more momentum you can take away from that army, the more that they are having a bad day.
Yeah. No, I think I completely agree. Again, you know, we mentioned it briefly yesterday. It's the same issue. Different armies, very different armies, but it's a similar issue to only having AP2 with Grey Knights. You know, that actually most things at absolute best are going to be on a 5-up. You know, you put Marines on a 5-up in combat and tanks on a 4-up in combat, and that's really difficult.
Yeah.
I think Blood Angels, they do, I mean, we're sort of a little bit later, they do have the volume of attacks to chew through a 4-up.
Yeah.
If you're in combat for 2 or 3 turns, but actually, if you've got to, I've got to go in and I've got to absolutely kill this one unit this turn, and it's a 4-up save. That's going to be the skill, I think. They can absolutely delete stuff, but it's actually how do you pick those battles easily if you've got the jump pack marines, because they've got the maneuver a bit. But actually,
slower marines, the foot slogging ones kind of needed to be. But I made a bit of a mistake by deployment, and what I learned is the foot slogging marines, they might have like a pseudo jetpack to turn 1 because you can scout move them with like a captain, but they don't actually have jump packs. So when they're on the left flank, you've got to keep them. That's where they are, and that's where they're going to dominate. And it's going to take them too long to get anywhere else if you misdeploy them. So yeah, I absolutely agree with you there. And I think we did see the killing power of the Blood Angels on display. I mean, I killed a Rogal Dawn in 1 charge, but that's because you failed all your 4-up saves.
That's it. Balance my 4-ups.
You balance your 4-ups. So the Blood Angels absolutely can still go in and delete stuff. It's just so risky now in comparison to what it used to be, where you would go in with 10 power fists and you would just... nothing could stop that. If I had 10 power... I think... so Death Company is still really good, but I think all of the other stuff they've gained, and all, like from like the army rules and strategy and stuff, just about lets you have one unit feel like an old Death Company unit, but the other ones aren't going to feel quite as punchy.
And also with the, I'm sure we're going to come on to that, but the drawbacks of Death Company.
Talk about now, yeah.
Yeah, the OC0 was a bit of a killer.
Not ideal.
No. Well, it was for me.
It was for you. It was for you, true. So, one thing that so when I was looking at the data sheets and I saw, OC, being the 12 inches of chaplain or your OC0, when I saw that, I was like, meh, that's fine. I'll always have a chaplain around. The reality of the situation is that after turn 2, I had no chaplains around because you killed them.
Yeah.
And I put 2 chaplains in my army.
Yeah.
So the problem is that if you're playing Blood Angels and you're playing all gas, no brakes, which is kind of like how you want to play as Blood Angels, that's your natural state of mind. What's going to happen is you're going to run in and kill something, and that unit's going to die. You're going to run in, and that unit's going to kill something, and you're going to die. And then you're going to run in, and that unit's going to kill something, and you die. And then you might be in the weird situation where you've run in 3 times, and because all your characters are leading from the front like absolute badasses, the problem you have is you run out of OC, literally. So
turn 4 and it's like, hang on a second, you're not controlling anything.
Yeah, so what was wild, and obviously spoilers for the game, guys, if you've not seen it. By the end of the game, Simon had left 1 tank and 1 infantry squad.
About right.
And a couple of Scion units at the back that had the cushiest gig in the world.
The first Scions unit ever to survive a game of 40k, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And I had left 3 half units of Death Company, and 2 half units of Death Company, 1 captain and 1 Death Company dreadnought. And considering like how much you were battering me in the first couple of turns, I was surprised that when the dust had settled, I came out with more stuff than you did. I had more survivors. So what do you think about that? Because obviously you must have felt like you were in a pretty good position the first couple of turns, and then the last few turns, even though you were winning on points, what did it feel like trying to stop the Blood Angels once they were in your lines?
I mean, turn 3 was a weird thing because I sort of went into turn 3, thought, right, the ramps came down. I've got everything's going to get shot. I've got 2. I had a tank commander, 2 Rogal Dawns, I had a couple of Chimeras. Yeah, 2 Chimeras, I think it was, maybe 1. 2 full infantry squads, a mortar firing into 3. And I thought, right, I should pick up 2 of these squads. And then I sort of looked round, I was just like, I literally only just killed 1.
Yeah.
And I'd gone from being supremely confident to twitchy bottom time.
Maybe I should not have got out of my Chimera's time.
Yeah. But I mean, I would, for me, that was, I looked at that and my eyes lit up, and I went, right, there you go. You're now exposed. You're now in front of the guard gun line. I was interested. I mean, that kind. I know you talked a lot about mechanized just going on to guard for a second, so we always end up there. But it does show kind of one of the weaknesses with mechanized guards. You don't have the orders in there. So it literally went from, yes, this is, this half decent turn, this. I mean, to, oh shit, in the space of one round of shooting. So they were surprisingly tough at that point. And after that turn, I thought, thankfully you had no OC, so it was going to be an uphill battle for you. But I was thinking, I was a bit concerned I might have got tabled at that point, other than my poor little Psyops who were getting.
Yeah, I mean, you were close, man. You were very close to being tabled. So to put things into context, on the front line, you started with 2 Dawns, tank commander, 5 Chimeras, a Hellhound with infantry inside, a Hellhound, 3 Sentinels, and Bullgryns. And by the time that we got to the end of the game, you had 1 infantry squad and 1 tank commander left over, and the Sentinels had died twice.
That's the first turn, and then we're absolutely terrible the second time.
Yeah. So Blood Angels feel really. So, from my perspective, the game it felt like a game in 2 halves. It felt like the first half of the game, you were rolling well on your 4-ups, and I just felt like my army was just like running around with like foam weapons, like rubber weapons, just bouncing off stuff. And then the second half, when the 50-50 kicked in, but the bad 50-50 of the 4-up kicked in for you, it felt like my army was good again, and like nothing could stop me. And I think this is sort of the weird paradox, the weird sort of hypocrisy of Blood Angels, which is they don't feel killy sometimes, and then at the same time in the same game they can feel unstoppable.
Yes.
And I think it literally comes down to that 4-up. Your opponent is probably going. And what was interesting is when you weren't on a 4-up save, when I got past the wall of like Sentinels and Hellhounds and stuff, and started getting into the Chimeras, what happened? The Chimeras popped no problem.
Yeah.
That was like back in the glory days. Like, oh, you're on a 5-up save. I'm hitting you with damage to your weapons. Or I've got enough volume here just to crunch through, no problemo. So yeah, against the 5-up save, it was like no problem whatsoever. But against anything with a 4-up save, it really felt like the Blood Angels were very inconsistent. And I think the problem in 10th edition right now is there's so many 4-up and vulnerable saves that I think that could be a big problem. It reminds me of why Harlequins were so damn oppressive in 9th edition. Because their entire army had a 4-up and vulnerable saves. And even though Harlequins were an army of T3 infantry and like T5, pleasure yachts basically skimming around the battlefield, because their saves were 4-ups, it often felt like they were impossibly durable. And now, if you flip that onto if you're using the 4-up saves and they're going well, then you feel great. But if you flip that onto the other side and you're going into that, it can be risky. It can be really frustrating. And I think the issue, I know we keep mentioning this, but I think there's one final point I want to mention before I stop talking about goddamn 4-up saves. If you're running a shooting army or encountering a lot of 4-up saves or 50-50 saves like that, or 5-ups followed by 5-up feel no pains, doesn't feel as bad, because there's always generally more guns that you can put on target. If you're running a combat army, you often have one unit going into one enemy unit, and then if your combat fails, you don't have another gun that you can bring onto it. You've just failed. That's a mano fight. You've just failed it. And the worst bit is that you've exposed your unit. Typically, if you go into combat, you've gone from staging behind cover now into the enemy's face, and so it's a double doozy. It's much higher risk trying to achieve the same reward, and it feels like it's just not as, it's just, you just don't have as much insurance. You don't have as many layers as well. Yeah. No backups. That's it. Yeah. No backups. So one thing I would mention regarding, just from my perspective, fighting the guard with the Blood Angels was, or fighting a vehicle army with Blood Angels. That was tough. Yeah. I mean, when you got all of your guys out the transports turn 3, that was like a godsend for me.
It was a bit of a clanger drop, to be fair.
No, it was it felt like you were going for that. I'm going to finish you off turn 3, and unfortunately, if you're going to do that, guard infantry aren't the people you do that with, because you just be like, "I'll roll these 2 plasma gun shots, miss."
I've been on the receiving end of your what do you call it, death core too many times.
Yeah. No, guard infantry don't hit on 2, Simon, unless I'm running them.
Yeah. It's like, this is just an infantry squad or Acadian squad. It's not a buffed up, ordered Death Corps blob, and they're 2 very different beasts.
Yeah. I think Death Company and Blood Angels will run roughshod over those armies which basically just have to take it on the chin. Whereas if you're an army that can put stuff inside transports, the Blood Angels coming in, nuking the transport, and then the squad that gets out is able to do damage. So this might not be the case like for Guard, for example, but if you're running I'm pulling this out of my ass, but if you're running Sister Battle and you've got a unit, if you have a unit of sisters outside of a transport, Death Company jump with them and just kill them. If you have 2 units, if you say I'm not going to pay for transports, I'm going to take 2 units of sisters, maybe they're good sisters, maybe they're like retributors. It's like, okay, you take 2 units because you've not spent the money on transports, but then both of you are just going to get jumped on and die. If you take a unit and put it inside the transport, then you lose the transport from the squad that gets out, counter punches, and I think that's what is the Achilles heel of Blood Angels. If you don't let them kill what they want them to kill, like I said, slow them down, make them waste turns killing stuff they don't want to kill, and then the longer that you can keep them out in the open and keep them and store the momentum, I think that's how you beat them.
Yeah.
That's how you beat me.
Yeah, I mean, 6 Borgrins, 3 Armoured Sentinels, and a Hellhound is quite a lot to chew through. Plus, like you said, you kill the Chimeras, the squad gets out, then it's at least another turn before you get rid of that squad. So it's a full battle round, getting through 130 points. Yeah,
basically, 100%. And I think it's quite. There's only 5 turns in a game.
Yeah.
For every turn. So if there's 1 turn staging, 1 turn you chew through the first. You chew through the tough. If you're lucky, you chew through the tough like screen, like this, the 2+ save stuff, and then turn 3 you chew through the Chimeras. By the time you're getting stuff that's actually scoring points, it's turn 4.
Or something that's killing you.
Yeah, also that's killing you is turn 4, and that is presuming that you get through that stuff in 1 turn. And I did win every single fight. I did win every single engagement, but it took me 2 turns to get through 1 flank. And if it taken me 1 turn, that would have been a very different game.
I think the other thing though, just to kind of looking at the OC0 thing as well, for you had 5 squads bearing down on me. Was it 5 squads? Now, actually, if you were I need to have some OC in the army, which generally is considered a good thing.
Be surprised.
Generally, that actually you would then only have 2 squads coming down. You're perhaps sending the 2 jump pack missiles down the line with a bit. That then feels like a completely different army, where you still got the same punch, but you're having to hold a bit back.
I think drop the 2 Death Company Dreadnoughts. That frees up about 20% of my points. Frees about 440 points, and then invest all of that into basically objective holders.
Yeah.
And then I still have the 5 blobs of doom running at you. Maybe even go down to 4 blobs of doom, but go down to 2 Sanguinary Guard, 2 Death Company with jump packs,
Yeah.
So you have 4 actually very punchy blobs of doom coming at you. 2 of which have got lance, 1 of which you can put lance on it for a CP. And whilst you're dealing, and also 2 of which have got 2 up, 4 up on my end for a change. And I think at that point that is a very, very different game. I think I'm setting on objectives, and you are spending that's when the momentum shifts. It shifts from you holding me off for turns, and it shifts to I don't care if I'm stuck in combat for an extra turn or 2, so I'm just keeping you back from the primary.
Yeah.
And that's a different game.
And maybe a little bit of shooting in there for something to keep the tanks on it.
1 Inferno pistol per squad. That's all you need, baby. That's all you need. Inferno pistols, can I say, very, very specific bugbear that I have. Inferno pistols being strength 8 is shit. Like, it's a melter pistol. It has the melter rule. Why is it not strength 9? It's like, I don't mind it being like D3 damage, fine, but it's melter 2. It's clearly got a good bit of melter going for it. But no, strength 8. That strength 8 honestly crippled those Inferno pistols. They were awful. They should have been strength 9, man. Anyway.
Right, to be fair.
The number of times when it was like, yeah, gonna win this Chimera on a 5, and I'd roll a 4, I'd be like, I might just start cheating, just say it's a 5. Yeah, just get called out on Battle Report, just being like, can you imagine filming on Battle Report? Like, I'm just gonna roll these dice behind this ruined Simon. Yeah, these are. Jesus Christ.
You'd be claiming cover on the dice.
I'd be claiming cover on the dice. That's the way to do it, man. Hey, you gotta try for those cover saves, man. You gotta try for them. No, to be fair, normally it's super easy to get a cover save because I play Met Guard and I just stick a sponsor behind a ruin and yeah, I'm gone. Alright. Well, Simon, I think that just about wraps up. Do you have any sort of final thoughts from your end? Blood Angels, Guards, any hot takes?
They were fun to play against. I mean, there was a bit of a, the no OC list. It
had OC. You just killed it.
Well, yeah, there wasn't that much, but yeah.
Every model had OC until you killed the chaplains.
Yeah, fair enough. But I mean, for me, 3 armored sense. I'm just going to go back to the guard. 3 armored sense. Yeah, fantastic. Love those things now. Not running for ages. Been talking about it. And those Bulgrins, I know mate, slab shields isn't the right thing.
Simon is going to make the slab shield meta happen one way or another.
No, I tried that, and then that's not going to happen. But yeah, I think there's maybe. I know they've not got the guns or anything, but I think there's a little bit there maybe, particularly as something that you can put in strat reserve.
Yeah, rapid ingress, then move, and then.
Yeah, certainly, because they kind of went in that list as a rapid ingress threat, and then obviously saw you running Blood Angels, and I was just like,
I am the rapid ingress. I'm rapidly ingressing into your deployment zone by just moving into it.
So sorry, boys, you were Operation Sneak Attack, Operation Bulgreen Shield or
Bulgreen Shield, yeah.
Off you go, lad.
Off you go. Hey, they passed the battle shock test though. They were too stupid to understand what was happening to them.
But yeah, look, I love those, armored sense. Interestingly, though, I'm half tempted to try them with plasma cannons.
Yeah, plasma cannons on paper look okay. The problem is that if you roll a hazardous check, you lose 3 wounds, and the thing about armored sense is they're meant to be durable.
Yeah, that is very true, to be fair.
And you might just roll on your D3 like 1 shot per sentinel and be like, well, I wish I had las cannons now.
Yeah. Maybe auto anyway. But I'll tell you what, the other thing that I did pick up on, it was quite interesting that I sat there with my everything in a tank. Lethal hits.
Yeah.
There's absolutely nothing on the table apart from 2 dreadnoughts.
Yeah, you did fine without lethal hits, man. You didn't really need them.
Well, I didn't really get, but actually, did you not notice? I was again thinking about this last night. How much you miss the lethal hits when you're not getting them.
Oh yeah. Like. DW giving them to us in 9th edition and then just taking them away. It was just like taking an ice cream off a kid when he's only had 1 bite of it. Like, it was cruel, I say.
But that'd be really interesting if we ever do get around to doing steel versus iron, and you'll be sat there with all your lethal hits against infantry, and I'll be there with all my lethal hits against tanks, and we'll just be like, okay.
Oh, good time.
Well, that was a bit. That was a bit. I'm trying to get, yesterday, I had one set of orders and no lethal hits. I was literally playing a guard army with no special rules.
Yeah,
I was
basically.
like,
I'll tell you what, man. When I had that lethal hits stratagem,
yeah,
I really noticed it. And when I had Lamati's lethal hits, I really noticed it. If there's one takeaway, whether you're watching this from a guard perspective or watch this from a Blood Angel perspective, if there's one takeaway, it is lethal hits are really, really, really good. I personally believe that lethal hits it is the best universal special rule in the game. Because it just, anytime you play a dice game and then you just get to automatically get the result you want, is you're basically bypassing barriers, is incredible. Like, I roll a 6, I now basically I have now wounded. I don't have to roll to wound, I have wounded. I just skipped a whole stage, yeah. I used to think Blast was the most powerful rule in 10th. I think Blast is now like the second most powerful rule. Blast is really up to the amount of shots you get.
yes, that's a good point. Good point, well made. But,
all right. Well, Simon, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to come and do this with me, and for enduring my presence for 2 days in a week rather than 1 day in a week.
yeah, no, I'm off to speak to someone about it.
I love it. But Simon, no, as always, I want to say thank you for your insight, your perspective, and also thank you, of course, for all the games and everything, man. I appreciate it. That's worried. Nice. And I also want to say a big thank you to all of you guys who have watched the video. Let us know what you guys think down in that comment section. Are Simon and I's takes of the hottest variety, or are they as cold as a puddle of sick? Let us know. Also, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. I know it's a little cringe asking for that kind of stuff, guys, but it really, really does boost the video with the YouTube algorithm, and it's a great way to support the channel. But yeah, that's all for now. Simon, I'll catch you later. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full-time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier patrons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Alex Dengal, Bon Vert, Mad Larkin, Marcus Roberts, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, Try Again Bragg, John Stubbs, Nick Wolf, Diesel Fox, and August Barney. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.